All right, what's going on, guys? It's Rest, and we have our weekly hotfix for Wonderlands to see if there's anything cool in here, anything that may make players that left return. First, let's just start off with our weekly rotations. We have a new in-game mini event called the Supreme Savings. So vending machines and SDUs are half price this week, along with mission items having a higher chance of being the item of the day. Okay, so this is going to be really cool if you do need item-specific things for a build, plus all the vending machines are going to be cheaper. So I think this is actually a pretty cool mini event. I can think of some mission items that would be cool to get to actually go along with this build, so I do actually like this mini event. And now we have our feature run that's going to include La Change and Blue Hat Monstrosity. That is going to be our two bosses. Now, change notes, we have Tore Down, Unintended Collisions, and Tangle Drift, and bonuses from Smart Armor would occasionally be lost in Save Your Soul or during level of transitions. So I guess that's pretty good changes. But now let's get into the meat of it, what everybody's here for. We have class adjustments. So we have Stabmancer. They increased the Ethereal Blade to do 150% of the Fate Maker's melee weapon damage instead of 100%. So Ethereal Blade was already pretty good. I've seen some crazy builds that actually take advantage of it. So they went out and buffed it. So I can imagine there's probably going to be some crazy stuff with it now. But Ghostblade weapon damage has also been increased by 10%. So overall, we just have some buffs for Stabmancer, which is really, really nice. Now we get to Clawbringer. We have all crit hit chance is now 13% per point instead of 11%. Then all crit hit damage is now 7% point instead of 5%. Then Dragon Aura Element is now 5% instead of 4%. And then Oath of Thunder is going to deal 6% bonus melee damage per hit instead of 5%. Then Firebolt gun damage is now 10% per point instead of 8%. So right here, they went out and did it. They buffed the Clawbringer. The buff isn't a lot, but they did buff it a little bit, so maybe the Clawbringer will be a little bit better now. Obviously, I know you can kind of make Clawbringer work as your like kind of second or multi-class, but it kind of struggles being your main class. Maybe this will help it out. It'll bump it up a little bit, even though it's not like the biggest changes, but they did buff it. But all right, going down to gear adjustments, they adjusted the Warp Paradigm's stat conversion from 50 to 35%. They also buffed shotguns again, it seems like. So torque, as in general, just the manufacturer, increased damage scaling by 17.6%. So torque shotguns are already insanely good, so I'm not sure why they buffed those. It's interesting. Hawkins Wrath increased fire rate by 75%, and they increased the damage scaling by 10%. So that's pretty good. Maybe Hawkins Wrath will be pretty usable now. All right, now we have the Sword Explosion. Sword Explosion now spawns with at least a foregrip part. This will not affect current versions of the weapon. Okay, so I guess if you don't have an older version of the weapon, you just can't get that unless you trade with somebody, because they're just never going to roll with old parts now, it seems like. It's always going to have one of these. Okay, but increased sword explosion projectile speed by 150%, increased sword explosion fire rate by 194%, and increased sword explosion damage scaling by 14%. So they buffed the sword explosion like crazy. Alongside, I would assume they get the torque buff as well. So Sword Explosion might be meta now. It was already like an okay weapon. This seems like it's just gonna blow it out of the park, though. I'm interested to see what's gonna come out of that. But then Rain of Arrows, adjusted Rain of Arrows area damage tick time from 0.2 seconds to 0.25 seconds. So it's like a little nerf to Rain of Arrows. Crossblade increases Crossblade weapon status effect chance by 100%. Note each Crossblade will always have a chance to apply its damage over time. Okay, so they buffed the Crossblade, and the Crossblade's already one of the better shotguns in the game, in my opinion, if you can build around it correctly. So now they have a very high chance to apply your status effect. And then finally, we have the Divergent, which is a core captor's weapon. Increases the Divergent damage scaling by 20%. So from here, we got a bunch of different shotgun buffs, which is good. They buffed the Clawbringer a little bit, which is good. This may let my Deathbringer build be very viable at Chaos 35 now, so we'll have to get around to working on improving that. Getting everything together. I definitely want to try the Sword Explosion out, since, you know, it is a torque weapon and they buffed it itself. I think it'd be pretty crazy. And I do like the new in-game event that's going on. I think that's also pretty cool if you're looking for mission items. But anyway, that's what it all for this update. If you guys did enjoy, consider subscribing, drop a like until those notifications on. Let me know what you guys think about the update in the comments below. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.